I'm Just Saying is sponsored by Hover.com. Go to gfu.hover.com and get 10% off your entire purchase. FreshBooks. FreshBooks is an easy-to-use online invoicing service that saves you time, gets you paid faster, and makes you look professional. Get started completely for free at freshbooks.com. And by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook by going to audiblepodcast.com/GFQ. Hey everybody, welcome to I'm Just Saying week 67. We all agree, right? We all agree on that.
There was some debate about
Prime
that.
Yet again, 67, a favorite number of mine.
I'm Andrew Zarian, joined by Lon Blaze.
I am. Very sweaty.
Showing the tattoo.
I am.
What does it say in there?
Life to excess.
Oh, very nice. I like it a lot.
It is my watch cry, my mantra.
Such a tough guy, though. You are a tough guy. He is a tough guy.
Uh-huh.
He has the earring. He has a tattoo.
He looks like a tough guy, doesn't he?
He does.
I know.
Like, I would be scared to
walking
cross
down
lawn.
the street. Yeah.
I know. He looks tough.
Well, you've seen me look over my glasses, too.
Yes.
When he does the Mr. Blaze look?
The Mr. Blaze look, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so funny.
That made her laugh. The first
Mr.
time
Blaze.
she ever saw me do it, 2 kids, she was like,
please.
Oh, yeah, that's terrifying. I'm like,
they should only know.
I mean, yeah, but you were always a fun guy. I mean, Mr. Blaze would lose it every now and then and possibly throw a book across the room or kick a garbage can. One or the other. Who was the dean at that school?
Lapino?
Lapino kicked a garbage can.
Did he?
To show, like, I'm gonna show you I'm angry and you guys are teenagers. Like,
yeah, because you can't hit.
So
shit.
you're gonna be scared if I yell and I kick a garbage. He kicked the garbage can. The garbage can actually went in the air and hit the teacher.
Well, you can hit other teachers.
He hit the teacher with the garbage can, and we all started laughing. And he just left the room. He didn't say anything after that, and he never acknowledged it.
Well, he one day at a rehearsal. He took the hammer and he threw it because he was so mad.
And the story was that I threw a hammer at a kid. I just threw a hammer like across the room. I was like nowhere near the kids.
Yeah.
So the story became bigger and bigger, and eventually
it was a sledgehammer.
Yeah, he threw it at the kid.
Caved in a kid's skull.
Ever hear the story when Mr. Blaze punched me and took my money?
Yeah,
and then ran me over with his car.
Uh-huh.
And then backed up again. Yeah. Absolutely. I got those things all the time. Too fun.
God, it's been brutal here.
It is hot in here.
Yeah, Andrew.
For those of you,
we'll do a quick show. We'll be out by 7:45. I promise.
It's hot as Hades.
Well, we're gonna take off the week of the 22nd.
We are.
Yeah.
We are?
Yeah, because I need to have a week off.
Okay.
You do.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna do that week, and it's gonna get brutal again.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
that
Aggie
squeaking
agrees
in the
with
background is Aggie.
She agrees with me.
She's very excited to see someone coming down the stairs.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
we're just happy that the debt ceiling was lifted.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
It's the most ridiculous thing in the world because it's basically a self-imposed rule. It's like, if you want to, we can print all the money we want. I'm not saying we should. I know that it's but it's basically a rule. And it's like...
But it made no difference.
Okay, Andrew, you'll understand this.
At this point, I just want to smack
you kind
all
of
of
realize at a certain point that your parents' marriage isn't good.
Yeah.
Okay? And Andrew and I have gone through this. This is like watching the government. This is the government. The government is like mom and dad arguing so badly that you look at them both and go, "You're morons."
Yeah.
There's something terribly wrong with you. I am going to be screwed up for the rest of my life because you argue this way.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about my federal government.
Well, look
right
at
now.
it like this, right? They eventually agreed on some terms, and it made no difference because they still downgraded our credit rating.
Because they waited so long.
Because they waited so long, and they couldn't. And they said they waited so long, and not only the agreement was so convoluted, where it made no difference.
Right.
So now the market is down 12% over the last 2 days.
Yeah,
Today it crashed again.
It is not good. It is not good.
But here's the interesting: the market really has nothing to do with what they did.
No.
No,
The
it's
market
just
is totally psychological.
Yeah, it's just a reaction. People's reaction to it.
I'm glad it's down because now I could invest. I took
buy some
stock.
stuff.
That is true. This is the time to invest.
That's what I did after 9/11, and I made enough money to survive off of it for like a good 2-3 years.
We should talk to our guy, hon.
We really
And
should.
ship some stuff over and pick up some new stuff.
Yeah, we
I mean,
probably
that's
should.
a reality. So the market does need to drop, and everybody's panicking. Oh my god! And I got calls from people. Oh my god!
This
Did
is
you
when
see what
people
happened to
get
the
rich.
market?
This is when smart
I'm like,
people
this is
get
a
rich.
great thing. You don't understand. Like someone like me that doesn't have a lot of money in the market can make a lot of money in the market.
Well,
now.
but somebody who has money in the market just took a bath. And
never
they're a
hang
little
on.
nervous.
You never hang on. I sell 6 months. That's my thing. If I hang on to a stock more than 6 months, it's a dead stock to me.
Well, it
That's
depends
how
on
I've always done it.
No, it depends on the stock. There's some stocks that work
I've
quite
never.
well, too.
I'm such a and I'm not a risk taker in life. With my money, I'm a serious risk taker.
Oh, no,
And with
no.
my stocks,
Not me.
I'll go in the highest risk stock
not me.
and take the risk.
I am very like blue chip stock. No, I do not like risking my money.
I do.
That's why I don't gamble.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's also why I don't gamble.
Because really playing the stock market is legal gambling.
Yeah,
It really is.
you're betting on men in suits.
Right. It's
Yeah.
legal gambling. So, I mean, I just know. I don't, I'm not big on, if I'm going to spend my money, I want something tangible for it.
But it is a scary notion where we are the United States and we don't have superb credit. That is scary.
Good.
Well,
it's not good.
They did that to themselves. Everyone wants to. The whole thing about bipartisanship is something that you kind of knew you were going to have to do, and now everyone resents having to do it. I've heard people talk about reporters. Not that the media is innocent in all of this either, because very honestly, the media has turned into has turned the government into TMZ. It's like,
Yeah.
well, let's go find a politician yelling at the other side because it makes good copy.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
It's a feeding frenzy on the debate. On the battle between.
Well, the media likes this, right? I mean, before 9/11, and I think 9/11 was a tipping point for this. Before 9/11, when there was a special news, like special report, you knew it was something big.
Right.
You knew a special report was something huge. Then they realized after 9/11, wow, whenever we say special report, the ratings go through the roof. So why don't we special report everything?
Yeah,
Everything is a special report, and the weather is a special report, and a car chase is a special report, and
There are more storm teams and storm tracks and Dopplers and whatever the hell they are.
we
I
have
love
made
that.
every
It's
day
ridiculous.
into Armageddon,
Yeah.
Right.
and
To
that's
the
what
point
the
that
news
nothing
does.
is Armageddon.
Nothing, no.
And no one trusts anything anymore. And we're never going to know that there's a huge thing happening because everything is huge. And when everything becomes huge,
Yeah, and if
everything
something is
becomes
really
small.
legitimately a big thing, nobody's going to believe
And
it.
you know what's interesting? And you know where we are as a society? When President Obama, they said, special report, and all the news went to President Obama's going to say something
Right.
at 10:40 at night. People's reactions weren't, oh my God, what is this? They thought it was something little. They said, oh, maybe he's going to comment on Libya. Maybe he's going to comment on the economy. They didn't believe that it was a huge thing until, the news came down the wire and they said, okay, it has to do with Osama bin Laden. That's where we are. And if this had happened, 15 years ago, where the president comes, they say special report, the president of the United States is going to speak at 10:40 at night.
Right. That never happened.
That would, on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, what
that
I love
never
now
happened.
too is that there are certain channels that are choosing not to cover it.
Yeah. That's another thing.
Yeah.
But we started doing the Bush years where they wouldn't cover the speeches.
Yeah.
Because
started
it's a
getting
ratings
nuts.
thing. What are you going to do? You're interrupting friends. God forbid you do that.
Yes, I don't
God
like
forbid
it.
you interrupt the. Well, he interrupted The Bachelor, the season.
Oh,
was it
and
the premiere?
but they played
Yeah.
The Bachelor in its entirety. The Bachelorette, excuse me.
So
Oh,
it is
yeah.
an interesting notion of where we are as a society when a special report means nothing.
Well, because they do it all the time. It's like every other day there's a special report, and it's
Every
like
episode of a TV show is a very special episode.
yeah,
of-
everything is hyped. Everything is hyped.
I remember as a kid, do you remember, even not as in, before 9/11, what were considered special reports? And I'm trying to think back
You
on
know
what
what?
I
At
remember.
a certain point, special reports were assassinations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, in the 60s, that's what was happening.
Or a major, legitimate hurricane.
Yeah,
Okay?
that was the 90s. We loved the hurricanes in the 90s.
Legitimate hurricane.
Yeah, what was the one that passed through when I first started teaching? Was that Gloria? When
Yeah.
Gloria came through, they shut down. They shut
That
down
was
the
in the
town
80s.
for 2 days.
That was when it hit here. Gloria hit here in the 80s.
70s. We had a major snowstorm,
Oh yeah, in '78. This.
which was one of the biggest snowstorms that we had in many, many, many years.
I'm thinking when I was a kid, what I remember.
The blackout.
Okay. But there was nothing to say special report to because it was a blackout. But yes,
But you could get
that's
on
a special report.
Everyone had their transistor radios.
Yes.
And were buying
Yeah.
their
Or
batteries
people went on
and
the
listening
people
to
went into their cars.
listening to WINS, because did WCBS even exist then?
I'm not sure.
Which
I don't
blackout
think
are you talking about? I'm talking about 2002.
Oh.
Oh no,
Do you
no,
know,
we're
do you know the
talking
one that took
about.
out the Eastern Seaboard?
Yeah, the
Yes.
you're talking about
66.
66.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know
talking
that there was a huge?
Well, there was one in the 70s too.
there
Yeah,
was a
78.
Yeah.
78 was that was
The riots.
Son of Sam.
The
When
Son
Son
of
of Sam,
in the midst of that.
when Son of Sam was
That was a
caught.
special. But that
was-
is a special report.
Yes.
I'm thinking from my child, I remember the first special report that I could remember was the Gulf War.
Yes.
That was the
Well,
first
the
one.
Gulf War became so special that there was a nightly report. That's where
Yeah.
Nightline came from.
Yeah.
Nightline was originally every night a half-hour report on what was happening with the hostage situation
That's
in
where
Iran.
Wolf Blitzer became famous.
No, Wolf Blitzer became famous in the first Gulf War.
Isn't that what you were talking about?
No. Do you remember when the hostages,
Well, we jumped.
when the hostages were taken in Iran? You know, during the Carter administration.
Yeah, but I'm talking as a child. I remember the first Gulf War. That was the first special report. The second special report that I remember as a kid was the first bombing of the Twin Towers.
Well, yeah.
That was the second special report. I mean, and then I'm thinking. I remember Hurricane Andrew.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I think I don't even know if they did. Yeah, you know what? When we went into Bosnia,
Yes.
that was a special report.
The Black
When-
Hawk Down incident.
Black Hawk Down, that
Yeah.
was a special report. I mean, there were scares. And then
Now
of
when
course,
there's-
9/11.
Well, you know what I love now is that whenever there's a possibility of a storm anywhere in the metropolitan area, like it could be upstate New York.
It's
And not that it's not
crazy.
important, but they will interrupt the metropolitan New York area to say there's snow coming in Poughkeepsie.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I mean, we had a tornado hit here.
Yeah.
And
around the corner from
around
our
the corner.
house.
And you know what's funny? I was on the air when it was hitting. So I took the camera and I broadcast. I had
Oh,
the
that's
camera
right.
outside and I recorded the tornado and I could see it go into the park.
Really?
It didn't come up the block. It stopped at the block and it went in the park.
It's so bizarre.
And it's so bizarre because I'm looking at it and I could see it coming and all of a sudden it just veers. I could just see everything getting
Did
pushed
you
to
hear
that
about
side.
the hailstorm last week?
Yeah.
That was wild.
My
'Cause it hit-
my uncle's $120,000 Mercedes Benz is destroyed.
really
Seriously?
It
Yeah.
lasted like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Those
said that they had
hailstorms.
the hailstones were like
hailstones
the
were
size
huge.
of grapes for a minute, then the size of golf balls for a minute, and then people were showing people had an apple and one of the hailstones, and
Yeah.
they were the same size.
They
for a
were
minute.
really
Does
big.
insurance fix that?
I think that's act of God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Depends on what kind of insurance, but
Yeah,
I
it
think
depends
that's
on
an
what
act
kind
of
of
God.
insurance you
Because
have.
they're talking about thousands of dollars worth of damage.
It
Yeah,
depends
and
on the
cars just
insurance
aren't
you
the
have.
same. We were talking about who was saying the other day. You used to be able to stand and jump up and down on the hood of a car.
Yeah.
Now, if you do that, it just rumples like tinfoil.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, you know what's funny? It's so bizarre when this happens. Last Tuesday, Jess and I went to the beach. We took my dad to the beach, and we were driving. And out of nowhere, this Mercedes. We're all at a red light. This side is at a red light, and this side is at a red light. This Mercedes just hits the gas at the red light, and just smashes into the car in front of him. So there's a ricochet of boom, 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 boom.
Okay.
And I'm like on the other side. And I'm looking. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Like there was no light. 3 cars up, this other guy hits another car that had nothing to do with the previous accident. And I'm thinking, I'm like, what?
Oh, wow.
What made that guy do that? I'm like, wow, that's weird. The next day, the same exact accident around the same area, same thing happened.
Are you serious?
Same thing. I'm like, maybe it's me now. Maybe I'm doing this.
Maybe.
It was
Have you
so
noticed,
weird.
like,
You're carrying bad karma.
Yeah.
well, I don't know what's going on, but in the last 3 days, with everyone like cell phones and stuff and everything, people have been driving like just especially the last week.
Yesterday,
just, like,
last
nuts.
night, we went into the city last night, and I don't know what was going on.
People
but
were making
everyone,
left-hand turns from the right lane.
everyone was batshit.
Yeah. That's a good way of saying.
They really were.
Yeah, pretty much.
And you know what I really hate? When somebody cuts in front of you on the parkway and then slows down.
Yeah, see,
what is that?
I need to get over this. I have a serious problem with road rage, and I lose it. And I don't know if you guys heard a couple Thursdays ago. We went to IKEA, Jess and I, and we were coming out of the parking lot, and I put my signal on to get into the right turn lane. I'm going, and there's no car. You know, there's a big distance between me and this minivan. And the woman sees me hit my blinker on, so she decides she's going to speed up to prevent me.
That.
So, but like she was so far away. She was so far away where even if she sped up, there was no way she could, come near me. So what does she do? I get into the lane and she starts honking and giving me the finger behind me. Giving me the finger.
Lovely.
And screaming like F you, F you. So, okay, you know what? And then I give her an F you back. And that's it. So now I'm like, you know what's going to happen? She's going to get stuck at the light next to me because she's on the side lane.
Oh, I love when they do that.
So now
they've got all kinds of nerve when they're behind you and moving quickly.
Oh wait, it gets even better, Lon. So now she did this whole thing, and she probably didn't think that, oh wow, I'm going to be next to him. So what does she do? I stay at the red light, and I'm like, watch, she's not going to come next to me, and she leaves like a couple car distances behind me. So like we're like this now. And Jess looks back and she sees her giving me the finger again. And rolls down her window and screams whispers F you. So what do? I put my car in reverse.
Oh,
I put my car in park.
Oh, no.
And I just start unloading on her.
Oh, no.
Everything you could imagine, I called her.
No.
I was, and my hair was like crazy because I hadn't done it. I'm wearing a ripped tank top, and I'm calling her the C word over and over again, wishing her children would die in a car crash, and screaming that her daughter's a whore. I've never been that crazy. To the point that I was getting out of the car.
Oh, don't say never.
To go start banging on the hood. And this was her entire reaction. She goes, you know what? Rolls up the window, locks the door, and stares to the floor, and I'm just losing it. And I'm not moving, and the light is green, and I'm just unloading on her. And Jess looks at me, she goes, "What is wrong with you?"
Yeah, really.
And I said, "You know what? She'll never do this to anybody again." Because she probably thought, I'm going to give this guy the finger, F him,
and he's going to drive off.
And he's going to drive off. But now I taught her a lesson.
Joe, that's a powerful lesson.
Oh,
we've learned,
yeah.
Eddie.
She
you
was
may
terrified.
Do that someday to the wrong
she was
person.
crying, Joe. She was crying. She did not expect that. She
gotta
said,
love it when you make the chicks cry.
No, she said, F this guy, this arrogant asshole in an expensive car. I'm going to give him the finger, and I'm going to show him who I am. And he was this overweight Hispanic woman. and she looked like just, I'm going to tell everybody how like it is. She's like one of those. And she probably said, when she rolled down the window and say, you know what? She said, you know what? I'm just not going to go there because he is out of his mind and he might kill me. But Joe, I lost it. Jess said fire was coming out of my eyes. And then we went to Red Lobster and I had a daiquiri.
There you go.
Yeah.
And all was well.
And all was well. And I felt a lot better after I did that to her. And I kept saying, now she learned her lesson. I cannot stand that. I cannot stand people that do that.
I hate that too.
I let people go through. Like if I see somebody with a signal, like even if they're wrong, like I'll let them go through. I don't care. Like if a lane is merging, because I look at it like this, it's going to cause more traffic for me.
Right.
To prevent them from getting in. And
you
know what? What's a second or two? What's 4 seconds? How is that going to affect my trip?
Right.
If I just let this person go through. This person couldn't have that. I told her she's probably angry because she's not happy in her sex life. And I'm being clean. I said, your husband doesn't do you right. Like I went somewhere so dark that it was difficult for me to come back from it. Like,
it's important.
You know when an actor, they said, when Heath Ledger was playing the Joker, he couldn't come out of character. Mm-hmm. Like, he would be in character the entire time on set. It took me a good 10 minutes to come down from that. Because I became that enraged,
what a fun
crazy
day
person.
for Jess.
Oh, my God. She goes, I always thought you were nuts. But now
I know it.
Now I know it. But I mean, Joe, listen, it's not my fault she's crazy, the woman. And I had to teach her a lesson.
Uh-huh.
Now she knows.
Now she
She
does.
deserved it.
She probably did.
She probably did.
But you're going to get yourself in trouble.
No, I only pick on women. I won't ever do that to a tough biker. Like, if I saw Lon, like, I know Lon. But if I saw Lon with that tattoo, I wouldn't do that to him. I would say, you go right ahead, sir. You keep on giving me the finger.
I'm so happy.
You scared the crap out of some little Hispanic man once in the city.
Did he? What did he do?
Oh, yeah. Some guy, I think he really didn't realize that I was going to pull back.
No, I don't think he did.
Pull back into the parking space that I was waiting for the car to pull back. And this guy scooted in, and I put the car in park, and I jumped out of the car, and I just went like...
And it was like this really little Hispanic.
And he like shrunk, and he like tore off.
That was Easter Sunday.
Oh yeah.
Isn't it great when you scared the living shit out of someone that's weaker than you?
Oh yeah, that's great.
Isn't that the greatest feeling in the world?
And how did I feel afterwards? I felt
you probably felt
crap.
horrible. Yeah.
He did. He felt terrible.
Why? Why
terrible.
did you feel terrible? He deserved it.
No, he didn't.
No, I actually think the guy. I think it was a mistake.
There are no
Excuse
mistakes.
me.
And I feel terrified I feel really bad for terrifying Father Lopez like that. Oops.
I've yelled at a priest at Jackson Hall. Did I ever tell you this story?
There was a priest at Jackson Hole.
It was one of the.
Do you know what I
Greek
love
church.
about Jackson Hole, by the way?
What?
When half the lights are on.
Oh yeah.
It's either Jaxo or my favorite N-hole. I don't know what an N-hole would be, but it just seems
doesn't
so
sound good.
sick.
Jackson's end hole.
No, it just N-hole.
Just says
Because
N hole.
it's a Jaxo. That's one half. So sometimes that burns out, and all you have left is N-hole. And I have no idea what an N-hole is, but
It's not good.
It sounds nasty.
So I guess he was from like the church, the Greek church around here.
Mm-hmm.
And I parked the car, went out for lunch. I'm with my brother. And I'm trying to get out of the parking lot. And this woman and the priest are standing in front of the car, like behind my car. So I can't get out of the spot. So I put my window down. I said, "Excuse me, I'm trying to get out of the spot. Can you just move?" He goes, 1 minute. And he keeps talking. And I'm like, he's not going to move. I'm like, "Excuse me, I got to move." He goes, "I told you, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute." And he keeps talking. So I said, "If you don't effing move, I don't give a who you are or what your profession is. I'm going to run you over.
I'm going to send you to meet your boss."
Yeah, I said, "I'm going to run you over." So what do? I put the car in reverse and I just gun it. You had to see this man jump. And I started screaming at him.
You frightened a man of God.
He was an asshole.
Old man.
You're going to hell.
He was an asshole.
You're
though.
going to hell.
It doesn't give him the right. I'm a reverend. I could do whatever the hell I want.
Did you ever walk into a bar with a priest?
You weren't then, though.
And a rabbi?
I was. I was.
were?
Yes,
You were
I was
reverend?
ordained
Okay.
at that.
You
point.
really should get a priest and a rabbi and walk into a bar.
Walk into a bar and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
There's an inherent joke.
and I said, really? Like, you're that much of a jerk? Like, you can't move an inch? Like, just scoot over. They didn't want to move.
That kind of.
He goes, 1 minute. And then he goes, I was talking.
And you know what kills me? I'm overly
So
polite.
move.
I'm overly polite, and I get all passive aggressive because it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I've been a really nice guy and sat here for 5 minutes while you've chatted, and it's like, and then she'll go, "Why don't you just like say something?" Because then the rest of the day I'm like,
Yeah, really, and
Have
it's
you-
really annoying.
Well, you're the loose cannon, right?
Yeah.
Or it's on the loose cannon?
No, it's me.
So have you lost your mind like that?
No.
No,
No.
never.
no. Although what we were talking about the other day, every once in a while,
Mostly
like when you're-
I'll just yell in the car. Like I'll curse in the car, but I've never gotten out and started screaming at someone.
No.
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 I followed people. Like, I've done that. I've
No, I've
followed
never
somebody.
done anything like that.
all the way up Northern Boulevard, and I've, like, cut
you
them off and
crazy?
lost my... Yeah. I've gotten nuts.
That's crazy.
I've gotten into a fight on Northern Boulevard, and the cops were called. I got into a physical fist fight.
Andrew.
I was driving to my job at the Gap in Manhasset. It happened in front of Leonard's. They thought it, and it was the same
In
time they
front
were
of
filming.
Leonard's?
Yeah, I think I told the story once on the air. They were filming The Sopranos like that week, and people thought it was part of the filming. But it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault at all. What happened was I was driving, and this guy in like a souped up Honda Civic cut me off and slammed on the brakes to like get me to hit them. And he kept doing that. Like, it was like this kid, like my age. It was a 20-something-year-old, and he would drive and slam on the brakes and drive and slam on the brakes. to like fuck with me.
What an ass.
And I cut him off. I got out of the car, like, what the hell are you doing? And he got out and he swung at me. So I knocked him out.
Okay.
They called the cops. The cops came. It was a whole thing. It was a whole thing.
Oh, I hate it when there's a whole thing.
Yeah.
I've never.
And he hit my car on top of it. He nailed my car. It was a
Really?
whole, yeah. Like he was nuts. The guy was crazy.
Yeah,
They ended
never
up
really
arresting him.
Had anything like that. I mean, I'll lose my temper, but not usually. I just get nasty.
See,
I
this
get
is why, like,
nasty.
it takes a lot for me to get there. But I generally don't get there. But when I do get there, like, there's no limit. Like, I think Lon. I spoke to you about this. How, there's certain people that are always just angry people.
Mm-hmm.
And they're always assholes. And I'm not. And I'll let people walk all over me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll let them, do whatever they want. And I'll let them come in whenever they want. And I'm one of those. And I'll take the abuse until it's over.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll just take it to a whole different level.
See, that's not good. That's not good.
Yeah.
He does that. Well, he's very passive aggressive. He will get upset and then he will pout all day because and be like in a bad mood all day.
Yeah.
Because somebody like on the road pissed him off and he didn't say anything.
I'm not we joke that I'm an angry person. I'm really not, except when I'm driving. I go to a really dark place.
Yeah.
I go to a really dark place.
But that could be really dangerous.
Yeah, but I'm not going to do it to some, like, gangbanger.
I don't know who you're doing it to.
Oh.
You don't know.
Oh, the best is when I would take Jessica to her job in the winter, I would start fighting.
I heard about that.
Yeah, it's ice. It's all ice. So I stopped the car in the middle of the street so she could walk around so she doesn't have to walk on the snow. And this Chinese woman starts like honking at me and starts screaming at me. So I put my feet up out of the window and I just sit there for a good 10 minutes and I let them honk. And she tried to swerve out of the way, like to go like this.
Right.
And she slipped on the ice and she hit a parked car. And I started yelling at her and I said, "This is what you deserve." It's not normal, Joe. What should I do?
I don't know. I think you need behavior modification.
I don't know. Was it always like this, or has road rage always existed like this?
It kind of
Yeah,
has always
I
existed,
think
but there's just
so.
so much traffic now that and the pressure all over the place is so palpable that
I mean, but there's been bad traffic for a long time. I mean, I remember in the 70s coming back from the Hamptons in the summer and just, sitting on the Long Island Expressway for hours.
By the way, our discussion, we weren't on last week, the week before, about the decades and how things haven't changed. I got a lot of emails. People really enjoyed that discussion.
Did they?
Yeah, and they could relate to a lot of the stuff we were talking about.
right. But every
That's
turn
cool.
of the decade, it seems like there's we were talking about this more and going on that there are things that identify, and even in the last century, the 90s decade and the first decade of the 1900s, the same sort of thing happened. Everything lost kind of its identity.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and what's really weird is if you take the, like, in the 1860s you had the Civil War, there was a revolution, there was a and in the 1960s you had like a cultural revolution.
Yeah.
It's weird how it's gone like that, and the conservative eras sort of follow one another.
Actually, the American Revolution kind of started in the 1760s.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think we are in now? I mean, look at the way that the world is right now, and look at the economy. The global economy is crumbling, not just the American economy.
Well, I think what is different now than ever before is that there is truly a global economy, and this is really the first time in history that was so much true. It's necessarily not a great thing. No, it's not.
Right. And because people can
it's
undo
not.
a nation.
Yeah.
And as long as nations,
It's
are
not
still
necessarily a great thing. I think like at any period in history, it's the best of times and the worst of times.
because you have like gay rights going, but you also have every time we were talking about this last night too. We talk about a lot of things. The fact that gay rights is expanding to the point that people can get married
In New York?
But the incident of violence against gay people is up because there are going to be people that are going to fight this and make it not be. Who's the politician that was saying they're going to change it back?
I don't know.
It's our.
I don't know.
Isn't there more of a problem than that at this moment? You know what I mean? Like, look at the priorities.
Let's
figure this out.
Yes, exactly.
There are a lot more
important things to be
worried about. Yeah.
Yes. My feeling is this: if you don't believe in gay marriage, then don't marry a gay person. I mean,
if you don't believe in abortion,
don't have one. But why do you think that you have the right to tell the rest of us how to live?
I think, but we've always been like that. I think we're a society that's human nature. We want everybody to be like us.
It's not just our society; it's society in general.
Right, and I think the political system loves issues where there is no right and wrong.
Yeah, because then they could talk about it for decades.
Right. You can't. No matter, you can take two people who are on the opposite side of the death penalty, of abortion, of any of a number of issues, and you and I can't compromise on that. It's not like you can be a little okay with abortion. I'm a little okay with limiting the rights to that. It doesn't happen.
I'm trying to figure out, when this is going to change. And I was watching a very interesting thing.
It changes very slowly.
They were talking about our economy, and this guy was saying how, our deficit is $4 trillion. We're in debt, but we're generating only $2 trillion. There's a problem there. So there's a difference of $2 trillion that we need to cut or create.
Yeah. Okay. This is, again, I'll go back to the family analogy. Okay. When you needed to put a new roof on the house and you didn't have the money for it, you put a tarp over the roof until you could.
Yeah.
But in this country, it's like, well, we'll print money and we'll put the roof on there anyway. You know what I mean? It's just like we don't kind of suffer for anything. We don't suffer, and nobody suffers. I mean, and I always say this: we all have credit cards, we all have plasma TVs, we all have computers.
That's right.
And it was never like that. You didn't need to have every channel in cable. And that changed when I was a kid, because I remember when I was a kid.
Yes, it did.
You were the weird family if you didn't have cable.
Yeah.
You were the weird kid if you didn't have a computer. It was getting like that.
Yeah.
But
it's become very expensive to just exist in the society.
Because you're spending more.
Right. Because we perceive all these things as necessities. And everybody has to have a cell phone and a computer and a laptop and an
in a
iPad.
Strange way, some things do become necessities because if everyone else has them and you don't,
you can't do business.
I remember as a kid when somebody made $1,000, right? If you made $1,000, it
was a lot of money.
Yeah. But nobody's making that money now.
I know.
I mean, Lon, as a teacher, there are teachers now making that $1,000.
That's right.
A week.
That's right.
How can you survive?
You can't.
And what's happening? I was watching the Verizon people. It was like, well, everyone has to cut back. And it's like, when the government cuts their salary and cuts their benefits, then I'll believe that they're in it with me. But until then, I think they're sitting on the outside going, who can we make suffer least?
Yeah, because let's face it, most of the people who are sitting in the Senate are not poor.
No.
They ain't poor. Those people all come from money. They all have money. And, they're all right. They don't all come from money, but most of them do.
They're making a good salary.
And they have money. They are not poor. So I want to know where they get off voting themselves raises when the country that they're supposed to be leading is going into the dumper. How dare they?
It's such a crazy thing, right? Because you're looking at, they're talking about cutting programs. There's so many programs that overshadow other programs. Like different divisions will have the same exact program.
Yes.
For the same thing, and they have no communication amongst each other.
And then they have an agency within those programs to check the other program to make sure that they don't overlap.
Yeah.
Look, the thing is, bottom line is, I don't care which side of the fence you're on, whether you're to the left or the right, Republican, Democrat. Everybody, okay, the Republicans, the Democrats, they disagree on where the money should be cut. Okay? The Republicans want to take it from here, and the Democrats want to take it from here. But the bottom line is, funds need to be cut.
Yeah.
And something's got to give. But everybody wants everything they want without anything having to give. And it just don't work.
Obama really pushed the universal health care. And it's going to be great for many people. But in my opinion, I think it was done at the wrong time, because now you've created even more of an expense.
That's true.
When your economy is tanking. I mean, and look at that mentality, though. We're going to create this universal health care, and people, okay, fine, whatever you want to decide, because that's a whole different discussion. But you're spending more money when you know that the money is getting less and less.
Well, but
one of the things the government does is project that they won't not be making money. If the economy is better, then there's more tax income coming in.
Yeah.
So many times what they'll do is they'll set up a program, people benefit, they spend money, and then they pay the taxes that in essence pay for the program on the back end.
The other thing too is that because so many people don't have health care, they provide a drain on public hospitals and things, which costs money in and of itself.
See, I think it was done in the wrong way. I think the program was done in a totally backwards way. I think the idea is great for many people, but I think what they should have done is, if your job is not providing you health care and you're making X amount of money, and if you're retired, if you're generating under a certain bracket and your job isn't offering you the health insurance,
right,
the government will give you health insurance. That exists here in New York. We have something called Health Plus, which if you make under, I believe, $32,000 a year, New York State, which it's a private insurance, but going through the state, will supplement that insurance to you. So it's either going to cost you $120 a year or nothing. And I know many people that have ended up going on that because they're not making the money that they used to. I think if you have a family, it's under like $50,000. But that is somewhat of the right way to go. And you're saying, okay, well, you know what? You're still allowing the private sector to
I love that Mitt Romney put in a program in Massachusetts. It's a law that you must carry health insurance.
Yeah. And
there are programs available so that someone who doesn't have a job can carry. There are programs. It's like having a license.
Yeah.
You have to have, if you're going to be a citizen, you have to have.
It's like a car.
Right. You have to have health insurance. What I love is that Mitt Romney is attacking the idea of everyone having health.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's different in my case. It's like it should be a state by state thing. And
okay, that I was going to say, I don't know that he's attacking the concept. I think he may be one of those people who believes that it should be a state situation as opposed to a federal situation, and that's a whole different argument.
And listen, Joe, and I'm sure I'm going to get attacked in a couple of days and go, you don't know. I've never felt the pressure of not having insurance.
I have.
I have. There has been periods in my life that I didn't have insurance, and it was a worrisome thing. But it was never a long enough time. But I have also felt when I had my business, I was paying $3,000 a month for health insurance for me and my family, and whoever the employee was. $3,000 a month I was paying out of pocket for this.
Oh, I know, it's exorbitantly expensive.
It is ridiculous.
Because we're both now self-employed.
We handle
our own health insurance. So, believe me, we know. It's very expensive. But
there should be some sort of option in between. That's what I'm saying.
I agree, but I'm not sure exactly what it is. I mean, it was very interesting, like when we've traveled and we met a lot of British people, and they have, national health care.
Yeah.
And so many people in this country think that's the answer, like nationalized health care, blah, 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 blah. You talk to these Brits.
They're not happy.
They're not so happy. they're not so happy, because one of the things that they said is it's real good for things like for a pregnant woman. Okay, everything's covered for her.
Okay.
If your kid twists an ankle or maybe breaks a leg or something like that,
It's like
great
good for the emergency room thing.
Okay.
emergency room things,
Okay.
standard things.
Okay.
But if you need some sort of like major special surgery or something, you go on a waiting list.
Yeah.
And if you've got, a cancer growing,
Yeah. You don't have
that
time.
could mean life or death. So what happens is those people end up going outside of the country to get their surgeries, because if you have the money, they come to the United States or they go someplace else to get it done because they can't wait.
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, the rich still have, and I don't know how you fix that.
Yeah. How do you fix that? Exactly.
I don't know how you fix that. Everybody's never going to be all equal.
I don't see here. I'm going to tell you a story very similar to that. We had a very close family friend, young guy, 41 years old. He moved to Greece. He retired. He moved to Greece. And he, as a child, he was one of somebody I looked up to. But very close family friend. He went to Greece. He got married. He was cutting the hedges and he cut his arm, really bad. He went to the hospital. They fixed it up, and he was really badly hurt, but they let him go within a day or two. I mean, boom, boom, boom. Okay, you're done. We did surgery. You're done. Here's some antibiotics. Call us, whenever. They didn't give him enough antibiotics.
Oh, my God.
And when he went back to get more, they didn't have any.
Oh, my God.
So they had to give him a different type of antibiotic. The guy ended up being so infected where he died.
Oh, my God.
From the infection.
Oh, my God.
And he was dying for a month. He was dying.
Oh, my God.
And they didn't have the right medication for him because it's socialized medicine and it's not always perfect.
Right.
That is the problem.
Right.
So when you hear stories like that, yes, you're going to be turned up, but you also hear great stories that, somebody, this so-and-so did not have insurance and everything was covered for them. And I think it varies, but it is scary to think, well, I don't have another option.
Right.
And you think about these government jobs, you look at teachers, and teachers get GHI here in New York. I don't know what they get everywhere else. They're not going to get their own insurance. They're going to get whatever the government is giving, which is the same insurance.
Right.
There's going to be no incentives for a lot of these jobs. There's not going to be privatized healthcare, and that's scary too, because now you don't have an option.
That's
not only
true.
that, it's not going to draw. One of the reasons that people used to teach, was
For the benefits.
not for the
Was
salary,
for the benefits.
Now
Sure.
you're not going to have people showing up to teach.
Which is a whole other issue. But yeah, we're losing good teachers every day because we don't respect our teachers and we don't treat them well. Teachers in other countries are treated far better than they are here.
Yeah, because over here, people are under what is it? If you can't do, you teach.
Yes.
Those who can't do,
Those
teach.
who can't do, teach.
Well,
yeah.
I think also
Those who can't teach, administrate.
Yeah.
I think also in this country, part of it, and this goes along with has been a problem for nurses and also for social workers, that these were historically female professions.
Originally, teachers were all
female.
That's fascinating.
And they had to live like nuns. You
Yes.
couldn't be married and be a teacher.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yes. A woman, if married, what's she supposed to do? She's supposed to take care of her husband.
Yeah. Yep.
She's supposed to take care of her children.
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, yeah.
I
And
had no clue.
a teacher was like a school marm. The term school marm had to be like, holy roller. And if you got caught doing anything that was askance, you got fired.
Yeah, look at teachers now.
Yeah, really. But
You go to Sullivan's on the last day of school and you see what
they're
doing.
all there.
Oh my God, they're all drinking and they're on the bar and they're taking their shirts off.
I know. Well, that's
I only did that once.
That's what comes from being with kids all year.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think the same thing with nursing. It was a female profession, and social work. All of those are historically female professions, and so they were underpaid because women only worked to supplement income or until they got married.
Yeah.
Once you got married, had a baby, you stopped working.
Yeah.
You didn't work outside the home.
That's interesting.
So teaching is considered a part-time job still. People still consider it a part-time job. So that's part of the problem.
See, but this is amazing. You know, there's a great clip. I think it's Matt Damon. He goes berserk on a reporter that kind of says teachers, you know, don't do anything and they're bad teachers. And he went berserk because his mother's a teacher and it was a teacher's rally. It's a very interesting clip if you can find it. But it seems like, you know, cops and teachers have become the useless jobs where nobody respects, which is scary because it's two of the most important positions out there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I think the cop thing is because we had all of those horrible stories coming out in the 70s of all the corruption that was going on, and now everybody thinks that all cops are corrupt.
You know what's interesting though, and you tell me if I'm wrong, you know, we even hear about the shootings, right? I forgot the last shooting that there was. I kind of sympathize with the cops because I look at it like this. You're a 21, 22-year-old kid.
Yeah.
20, so whatever.
Yeah.
You fear that you will be dead.
Yeah.
You fear for your life. You know what? I would shoot 38 times.
Exactly.
I would empty that magazine as fast as possible because I'm going based on instinct. And they teach you, you know, when I was becoming a cop, they teach you, you know, you have to
I'll have to look
think,
up the percentage.
you know, it's like 1, 2, 3, that's it. You got to. But there's no way you're a human being.
Especially if it's like the first time it happens to you, first time you're in that kind of a situation, you lose it.
Yeah.
People lose it.
But people don't see it that way.
Look how many soldiers lose it. We don't hear about it. They keep those stories hush hush. But how we really first started hearing about those kinds of things in Vietnam, some of the massacres and stuff like that, because they lose it. They go nuts. You go at certain circumstances.
Can you imagine a job where you're trained to use a gun your whole life? And I was just going to say the statistic of cops that shoot their gun in the line of duty in their life is remarkably small.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So you practice shooting the gun all the time, and then you don't.
Can't. Yeah, and then you don't.
And then, you know, so when it happens, I mean, people freak. They get scared. I kind of, you know, I kind of don't blame them.
By the way, it's 93 degrees.
Is it?
Yes.
It's lovely. It's so travelable.
I think I've lost a pound. It's nice.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up. It's way too hot.
It's way too hot.
That was an interesting discussion. People are involved.
Margaritas.
Yeah.
Margaritas.
Margaritaville.
Ooh, are you going?
Margaritas.
Where are you going?
I don't know.
You getting margaritas?
I have a bucket of margaritas
I don't
in the
drink,
house.
remember?
Yeah.
She'll have to watch us.
No,
But
I
you're
don't
going
because I'm drinking every time.
You're always drinking at my parties where I don't
I want to
drink.
remind everybody, go to our website, guysfromqueens.com. It is a extremely hot day here in the studio, so we're going to wrap it up. Lon, anything to plug?
No, I'm not doing anything for a while except
He's just being a slug.
Okay.
Just kind of being a slug.
That's good.
So if anyone wants to hang out and have coffee, get in touch. I'm on Facebook.
Cool.
Yeah.
I write really cool things
Joe,
on Facebook.
anything? No?
No, nothing major.
No. Watching Lon be a slug.
Watching Lon be a slug.
Well, she's preparing for maybe perhaps another cruise, and I'm preparing to go to California. I am preparing to go to California.
Really?
When I go away on my cruise.
When are you going?
I don't know yet.
Okay. Talk about it.
September, I think.
Okay.
All right.
We'll see y'all next week, everybody. Good night.
Bye. Stay cool.